Let's see if we can get rounding down, all right? Rounding's kind of a scary concept. Welcome back to math. Here we are. Math Unit 1, Lesson 7. This should say Part 2, or we could say Rounding Made Easy. Let's see if we can get rounding down, all right? Rounding's kind of a scary concept for some reason. I don't know why, but it's normal for people that are 10 years old not to get this very easily. So let's try to make it a little simpler. All right, well, down here we have a number, everybody? 10. Up here we got a number? 20. Let's say our number that we're going to round, let's say we got the number 12, okay? So our 12 is what we're looking to round. Now let's say our 12 is right here. It's on our number line, right? And we're going to round to the nearest 10. Let's put a line underneath the number we're going to round, and then let's put a box around our neighbor on the right. Because we always look to the neighbor on the right to figure out whether we go up. Now, what would we be going up to if we were going up? 20. And if we were going down, it just means that we're going to stay with the same first digit, and we're just going to put a 0 in its place. So we're going to either make it a 10 or a 20. Which one of these two is closest to the dot? So I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to write that. What am I going to put on the top? I'm going to put a 20. And what am I going to put on the bottom?
10.
A 10. And what's this right here, do you think? In the middle of 10 and 20. So this would be 15, right? Okay, so we have 10, 15, 20. So where's our dot? Is our dot at the 15 spot? Is it above the 15 spot? No, it's actually below the 15, isn't it? So I'm going to represent that with my vertical line. I'm going to put my dot right there. Does that look like 12 to you? Close enough, huh? Because what do we do when we're rounding? Remember our 5 or more we round up. 4 or less we round down. Is this a 5 or more? Or is this a 4 or less? Is this a 5 or more or 4 or less? Which one is it? 4 or less. So we're going to round to what?
10.
To the 10. Do that again. So our answer actually is rounded. When we rounded our answer, it's going to be 10. Let's say I have another dot. This dot is here. On what number? 18. What is it closer to? Is it closer to the 10 or is it closer to the 20?
20.
The 20. Okay. So if we're rounding to the nearest 10, that would mean we're going to round to what number?
20.
The 20, right. So we would say we're going to round 18. We're going to round it to the 20. Because it's only two places from the 20, right? So do you understand that how rounding is working? How is rounding working? It's whichever 10 number, which one is it closer to, right? Okay. What if I have right here? What would that be? That is a, what number? 14. Is it closer to 10 or is it closer to 20? 10. How many? Why? Because it's only 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 spaces this way to get to the 10, right? And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 places to the 20, so it's closer to
10.
the 10. So we're rounding to the 10, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Let's do another one. Ooh, what now? What's it closest to?
20.
Well, actually, because it's a 5, we always round up to the nearest, in this case, 10. So whenever it's, everybody, whenever it's 5 or more, we round up. Okay? Now, now I'm going to write that one out, okay? Are you all right? Are you ready? Okay. So I'm going to use a vertical line. I'm going to put my 20 here. And what would I put down the bottom, right here?
10.
My 10. And what would I put in the middle?
15.
Yeah, my 15. And my dot is where? It's on the 15. So what are we going to round to? Remember, if it's 5 or more, we round up. Okay, so we're rounding to the 20 because that's our nearest 10. Okay, so we could say this: 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. We're going to take and we're going to round up. That means we're rounding to the next number of what we're talking about. In this case, we're talking about the nearest 10. And if we were talking about, let's say, what would I put here, down below it? What would I put below it? Yeah, 4. Why would I put a 4 there? Because 4 or less, we round down. So 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to round down to the, in this case, the 10, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, you guys did that automatically with me when I put dots up here. When I put a dot on 12, where did you round to? You round to 10. When I put a dot on the 18, you rounded where?
20.
To the 20. Good job. And then when I put a dot on the 14, we rounded where? Where did we round to from the 14? To the 10. When we were on the 15, where did we round to? To the 20. So, I could say this. I could say, well, my dot is on the 15. So I'm going to put a 15. What number are we looking at rounding? What number are we looking at rounding? We're looking at rounding this 10 number, because I said to the nearest 10. And our 10 number is, this would be the 10 number, right? And the next number up from 10 would be 20, because that's our next 10 up from 10, right? All right, so does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm going to put a box. Let me put a box around this. I'm going to put a box around the 5. And the reason why I'm putting a box around the 5 is I'm saying if it's 5 or more, if it's 5 or more, I'm going to do what?
Round up.
I'm going to round up. So, when it's 15, I'm going to round up to 20. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's why I'm drawing it out like this. Though the 10 is what I'm rounding to the nearest 10, right? So I have to look to the neighbor on the right, which is a 5, and I'm going to round. Now, let's practice that again, and I'm going to use one I've already done with you, okay? So no one gets confused. Let's say my dot is on the 14th. Let's write that out. Which one of these digits am I rounding to?
10.
The 10. So I'm going to underline the 1. I'm going to put a box around the,
4.
and why am I putting a box around it?
Is that the one?
Because that's when I do this. 5 or more, I round up. Is this a 5 or more?
No.
Ooh. 4 or less, we round down. So we're going to round down to what?
To the 10.
To the 10. So our answer is going to be 10 in this case, right? So I could put that on my little line right here. On my vertical line, I can move that up. And our number is 14, right? And where would that be? Where would I put the dot? Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay, so I'll put the dot right here. And that's my 14, and that's closer to what number? The 10, right, because it's 4 or less, we round down, right? Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, okay. So what we'll do is now let's change this into the 100.